On Friday, I went to physical therapy and had a very satisfying visit. I did a lot of walking, either between parallel bars or with a hemi-walker.
And with a quad cane.
And with a quad cane. Not so good with the quad cane though. But ever since I started my recovery, I got to hate the word progress, because everyone kept telling me how much progress I was making compared to other people with a similar type of stroke. But now I actually feel like I have made satisfying progress, because if it isn't progress, it means I can stand up and walk when I want to or need to. It's not enough for me. I mean, yeah, it's good to be able to talk, even though my voice does not sound like my pre-stroke voice. I still am able to easily communicate more than they expected me to be able to do. I mean, if those of you who watch my videos, I always think that my voice doesn't sound very good and that everyone must have a hard time understanding me. But people that I know that have seen my videos have all told me that I sounded really good. So, yeah, it's good progress. I still don't like the P word though. People telling me that I make good progress, it still feels like a slap in the face, because I don't feel like I've made good progress. But after Friday, I kind of agree with them. So I've been to physical therapy many times since I got out of the hospital. But this time, they used something called an AFO to stabilize my ankle and my left leg. And that helped me a lot with walking between the parallel bars and with various walking devices. It let me walk like I would want to walk. Being able to move my left leg myself was a big step forward, and that I've been able to do for a while, because we installed a bar on the wall in my bedroom so I could practice walking. And ever since then, I've been practicing walking a lot. It's different than the parallel bars at the outpatient rehab center, because it's got a carpeted floor instead of a smooth floor. So in order to walk with that bar, I have to lift my leg up before I move it forward, because the carpet, my toes drag on the carpet when trying to walk without an AFO.
AFO stands for ankle foot orthotic. I just looked it up.
So I'm hoping to get an AFO that I can use myself at home. Also, if I get a walker or a quad cane to use at home, I'll need the AFO to keep my ankle from dropping. Those of you who watch my videos who've had a stroke of your own probably feel the same way. Especially about the word progress. Because no matter how much progress people think you've made, you never feel like you've made progress.
Do you want to talk about your other progress this week? What happened on Tuesday?
Oh, on Tuesday I went and they removed my feeding tube. So now all the food I consume is by mouth. For a long time, I had to have Glucerna through a feeding tube. My wife kind of liked the Glucerna because when my blood sugar was trending low, she could just put glycerin in my stomach and that would take care of it.
I didn't even have to wake you up. It was in the middle of the night. It was great. Just pour it down you and it would stabilize your blood sugar for hours.
I've talked a little bit about my pre-existing conditions that have made my recovery harder. Diabetes is one of them. I've been a type 1 diabetic since 1984. And when you're in the condition that I'm in now, I can't exercise that much to be able to lower my blood sugar. And with the feeding tube, consuming the glycerin through the feeding tube was a good way to get steady carb increase instead of spikes of blood sugar. It just increases my blood sugar slowly over time. My wife is gonna miss her being able to do that at night, but I definitely am not going to miss the feeding tube. I don't know if you've ever had to drink those kind of carb shakes, but they taste horrible, especially when they're coming up your esophagus the wrong way. You see, I also have
Acid reflux.
Acid reflux, where when I burp or hiccup, it brings up the contents of my stomach, including acid, up my esophagus into my mouth, and it burns and hurts. So far, there's not much I can do about that.
You're taking medicine that helps control it.
It still happens though.
But not as bad as before you started those.
See how my stroke has really screwed me up with all of my pre-existing conditions. Most of my time trying to feel better has to do with my pre-existing conditions rather than the damage caused by the stroke. There's a guy at my active day location that had a stroke too around the same time I did, but his was on the other side of his brain. So he can use his arms very well, but he can't talk. So when I am sitting across from him at the table, we have discussions where I'm talking and he's just confirming what I've said. He just says yeah or okay or whatever. And he can't start a conversation by voice because he can't say words. I have a similar problem, but it's not as bad as his. It's something aphasia. What was the word?
Expressive aphasia.
Expressive aphasia, which means you can think what you want to say, but no matter how hard you try, you can't bring the words to your mouth. You can't say the words. It's been happening to me for a while before stroke too. Because I had a very small stroke back in 2014, I think. And that messed with my aphasia. So I've been still trying to recover from that stroke. It was 6 years ago. Well, also trying to recover from the new stroke that was just a few months ago.
So Kaylin, guess what?
What?
2014 is actually 7 years ago now?
Is it? Oh, I forgot.
8 years ago? Because it's 2022 now, so that makes it 8 years ago.
I keep forgetting about the last New Year's.
Yeah. And then the stroke that you're mostly talking about was from last March. That was about 9 months ago.
Yes. I have a hard time remembering time and understanding the passage of time since his last stroke. It's quite annoying for me and my wife.
Laugh at?